host Locke, and this is the podcast where we drink, smoke, and bullshit about the life of a historic criminal. Now we're talking outlaws and gangsters. We're not going to cover too many serial killers. That's just a little bit dark for me, and this ain't no true crime podcast. Honestly, you can't call this a history podcast because I'm no historian. I'm just a history fan that does some research and bullshits about it with his friends. So speaking of my friends, let me introduce you to my co-host. So first with us today, we got Jbone.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
And also with us today, we got Dan.
What up? There's me walk through a spaceship door.
Nice. We got Cosmic Dan.
Dan 3000.
I'm tripping on the river Cosmic, bro. Surfing the stars.
So Dan brought us a whiskey to try out today.
Fuck yeah, I did.
You wanna?
Today? No, I don't wanna. Locke, maybe I don't wanna at all. It's a fistful of bourbon, which is a blend of 5 different straight bourbon whiskeys.
Nice.
I mean, I usually don't get the blends, but this bottle I've been looking at the last 5 times I went grocery shopping, so finally I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do like hip hop does and throw it in the bag.
Nice.
Word?
But it's the 2019 double gold winner. If you thought single gold was good, wait till you get dose gold.
Oh, you could taste both golds in it.
2 golds and a silver.
I like it. It's in the style of like your Scotch, which is just regular whiskeys blended, but the blended bourbons really get that nice charcoal punch.
I'm just reading the label because I don't know shit. But it says it's got leafy floral greens. It's balanced and sweet. It's got hints of spices and nutmeg, cinnamon, and licorice. But the one thing that I got a lot was the buttery toffee-ness of it. Like there's a smooth sort of...
Oh yeah, it's like a charcoaly Heath bar, if you
It's
will.
smooth, baby.
It goes down smooth for sure, but it's definitely got that bite up front. But
Well, it is bourbon. Don't
Well,
let the
it's one of
smooth
those
taste fool you.
bourbons that not many would translate. It's one of those bourbons that you can make like a coffee drink out of.
Yeah.
That would be good in a nice hot.
Yeah, it
black
seemed like it
coffee.
would be a good cocktail mixing
Yeah.
whiskey in general.
And what are you chasing that down with?
Oh, I got some New Holland Dragon's Milk. New
Right
Holland
on.
is the brand. It's from here in Michigan, and then Dragon's Milk is the sort of bourbon barreled stout that I got.
Oh yeah.
And it's a rich one. It's 11%, so it don't fuck around. But I
She's
like
been
it.
on the
It's good.
cast a couple times. We've milked it up a couple times.
Yeah, I think this is what I had for St. Patty's Day. 'cause
Okay.
I forgot my Guinness.
Right on.
But I'm only got one of these. I got other New Hollands, the Poet. That's what I'm gonna get into next. But for right now, milking that dragon,
You
baby.
can't go wrong with the milk of a dragon. Right
Mhm.
on. Well, in addition to the whiskey, I've got a crazy little thing called a hazy little thing IPA by the Sierra Nevada out of Chico, California brewery.
He's a little thing called beer.
I'm not sure if I had one on here, but so
There's
many
been a
IPAs.
lot of those
Yeah.
hazy IPAs.
we love our hazies on here. So yeah, today I got Yangling traditional lager. Throughout most of the country, a lot of people are like, yeah, Yangling. They drink it all the time. In Michigan, we don't have distributorship.
Yeah, I was about to say I never even heard of Yang Lang.
And it cuts off right at our border. Ohio, it's one of the biggest, it's common in every party store in Ohio. It's like, you guys
Is it
got
Yangling or
Yingling.
Yeah,
or
Yingling. That's what
Yingling.
what's
Yingling?
the story behind it?
Since I listen to Drinks with Great Minds in History, I know because their guy Luke says every time it's America's oldest brewery from Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
It's like a Waffle House. Like it's nationwide, but just we don't got it around here.
Yeah.
And so I heard it on the podcast, and then it says it on the can. That's 2 sources. It makes it.
Multiple sources.
Yep, that's
Checks out.
Before we get started, I got to thank Sixfo Sueno for letting us use his music in the intro. You can follow him at Sixfo Sueno on Instagram. It's FOE. And then Cancer, he lets us use his music in the mid-roll. You can follow him on Instagram at Eyes Bleed Defiance, where you can see all his graphic art and his photography. If you want to follow us, we're at Bad Guy Podcast on TikTok and Instagram. And you can find all our links through our website, badguypodcast.com. So all
Got
of
links like sausages, baby.
that's all of them, right?
We're covered on the socials.
Today we're going to be covering, we got a listener recommendation. So this recommendation came from Andrew in Louisville. He emailed us.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes. So he emailed us at say hello to the bad guy podcast at gmail.com. Bumped him up to the front of the line.
Right on.
But we'll go ahead and get started. And the bad guy we're covering today is Harry Strauss.
This ain't negotiation time. This is Scarface, final scene, fucking bazookas under each arm. Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah, Strauss.
Yeah, Harry Strauss. If you don't want to call me Harry Styles, you can call me Pittsburgh Phil.
So we got Harry Strauss, a.k.a. Pittsburgh Phil.
Yes, he was the
Either or.
Yeah, one or the other. I don't think this is too big of a spoiler in advance. He's not from Pittsburgh either.
No.
What?
No, he's from Brooklyn.
So he's neither a Pittsburgh nor a Phil. He's a double fibber.
I went with Pittsburgh Phil because that's his most common nickname. So when people look him up, you'll see Harry Strauss, a.k.a. Pittsburgh Phil. But doing the research, I found he's kind of got a bunch of AKAs, but I didn't want to put them all up front. I didn't want it to bury the Pittsburgh Phil lead.
Why, you think we can't handle names?
I
That
think
what
you
you're
can't.
saying?
No, I think I got to break it down.
You think we can't handle names, bro?
I think you're going to run right past Pittsburgh Phil right when I don't need you to and go straight on to the next one.
I think Pittsburgh Phil kind of sounds like if he sees a shadow that you won't really.
All right, so here's the rest of his AKAs.
Big Harry. There we go. The Flying Gangster? Oh, I can't wait to hear the rest of
yeah.
this tale. No, I got that.
So yeah, I got AKA Big Harry, AKA Pep, and AKA the Flying Gangster.
It's because he was very upbeat. He's
Yes.
like, come on, guys, let's go. Let's do the crime. Early bird gets the bank robbery. Let's go.
In hindsight now, I was probably right? You need to split these nicknames up. This is a lot of AKAs. It requires 2 slides.
I mean, it's still less than a handful. It's only 4. We can handle a fistful of bourbon. We can handle a fistful of names.
But it's quality, not quantity, is what I'm talking about. This guy's got some power fucking AKAs.
Well, yeah, the Flying Gangster, like, if that's on page 1 on the splash page, we're just like, hey, what is that about? Like, is this
They
dude a
shot him
pilot?
out of a cannon into the bank.
He was the Red Baron before he was Levi Strauss.
He was born July 28, 1909 in New York. And his parents were Jewish immigrants. He was raised in Brownsville, Brooklyn, which at that time was one of the roughest neighborhoods, not just in Brooklyn, of like in New York altogether.
Real American tale type shit.
I was thinking more Sebastian Bach. Harry was a poor boy. He had a heart of stone.
So as a kid, Harry was large and strong, which earned him the nickname Big Harry. But to his friends, he was real friendly and charming and upbeat. So his closest friends for his entire life mostly would call him Pep.
Does pep mean something different
You
than
had
it
a
does
little
now?
pep in his step.
Like-
Like you skip, like you got, you know what I mean? You're uppity, like.
Yeah.
Dun,
Peppy.
dun, dun, dun. He's got pep in his step, pep in his step.
But even at a young age, he was a head case that enjoyed violence.
Well, that doesn't sound very peppy.
Well, that's what made it so weird. It was only with his friends. So his closest friends be like, "Oh, Pat, man, that guy's cool." And shit, the rest of the world, it actually said other kids would look up to him but stayed away from him.
So he would just be skipping, turn the corner, and it just turns into like a dead walk, like a Terminator style walk.
You can stop passing that milk money now before I get to you.
In elementary school, he became childhood friends with Abe Reles and Martin Goldstein, and the 3 of them started a life of crime together. Through most of Prohibition, they worked for neighborhood thugs doing low-level crimes.
Damn, so through most of Prohibition, he was only like a teenager.
Yeah, he'd been 11 when Prohibition hit.
Yeah.
So he was doing like low-level shit, like extortion, drugs, just kind of, street crimes and shit, because he was a little kid. Basically.
Minor little league gangster. He wanted to make the big time.
I don't think he was out there doing fucking Fred Burke style shit right away.
Him and his buddies would adapt the street names Kid Twist, Bugsy Goldstein, and Pittsburgh Phil.
And they started their own little mixtape. There's a Kid Twist.
There's Abe Kid Twist Reles, Bugsy Goldstein, and Pittsburgh Phil.
The original Beastie Boys.
Listen to me,
no
odd
sleep till real
sabotage.
Brooklyn.
Right.
No sleep to Brooklyn.
Eventually, they developed a reputation as a well-known muscle crew working for the Shapiro's brother, a gang that ran Brownsville. The Shapiro brothers ran most of Brownsville. They had like a handful of brothels, a little bit of extortion, and a bunch of slot machines. So, kind of standard fare, just small. They ran their neighborhood, and they were real content with that. They're like, nobody fucks with us as long as we stick to Brownsville.
Yeah, they just carved out their own little slice of paradise, and they're just rocking it.
Yeah.
With a fistful of brothels. And how old are little Jewish gang right now?
Like early teens.
Word.
14, 15-ish.
Yeah, yeah.
And because these guys,
mid-teens, I would say. So the like 14 to 17.
these guys only look to be like in their early 20s, like 23, 24-ish.
Right.
They're not old men.
Well, where
elders.
we said minor league earlier, these guys are still like triple A. You know,
Right.
our guys are an A ball, but this is like even the big gang they work for is still kind of.
Well, 'cause
minor leagues.
we got a Rothstein up here, but we don't got an Arnold Rothstein.
Well, no, I was just wondering if these little kids were of age to take advantage of them brothels. I mean, shit, if you're working, you know what I mean? Dip your pen in that company ink.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure, like back then too, it was not like nowadays where you had to wait for a talk. I'm sure back then it was like, hey, if you started your life of crime at 11, you can definitely dip your pen in the ink at 15. Like, go ahead.
Are you gonna sit down, Kid Twist and Bugsy Goldstein and get? Look, I gotta tell you about the birds and the bees.
I don't know about no birds and beads. I know about whores and hoes.
In the late 20s, Abe ends up getting locked up for a couple years, and the Shapiro brothers didn't do anything to help him out. So they used to have deals. They'd send you a lawyer. They'd bail you out. And he
Fill
thought
up the commissary, do something.
anything, right? And they didn't. So he felt like, okay, either they're doing it on purpose to be dicks, or they don't even know me no more. You know what I mean? And that's even fucking worse.
Either they don't know, don't show,
Or
or just don't care about
care.
little Jewish boy in the clean. They're leaving him ramen noodleless in Seattle.
So Kid Twist is doing his couple years. Bugsy Goldstein buys himself a pool hall that he would gamble and work out of. And Pittsburgh Phil just kind of picked up like contract muscle work, and he'd just do some small time drug deal and just kind of make a living on the side kind of shit.
Yeah, so like everybody else is like, all right, we're going to buy some shit, come up with schemes. Old Pittsburgh Phil's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to beat people up.
I'm gonna keep doing the
that.
ditch digging of
Yeah.
gangster work.
You know, I kind of like where I am. Kind of good.
Stuck in the entry level mode.
If you love what you do,
You
never
never
gotta
work a
a
day
day.
in your life.
I mean, he just doesn't have the same pep when it comes to like running businesses. He wants to be out there with the people, you know, in the sunshine. Just
He doesn't
working.
beat for a season. He beats for a reason. It's in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, you have to have passion in your work.
Exactly.
When Abe gets out of prison, he's fucking pissed. And he decides he wants to make a move on the Shapiro brothers. But he doesn't have a gang. You know? So
That could
The other
hinder
two,
things.
the other two kids, we've already said what they were doing in his 3-man gang. So, one's a pool hall owner / pool shark, and one's still just a half a knockaround guy.
how much was he the leader of this gang, dude? Like, you left and they're just like, I don't know what to do, man.
You come back and you guys forgot about me, bro? You guys forgot about me?
Well, I mean, to be honest, they were like 14. So, like, yeah. They're like, you know, when you're like in 8th grade and shit, if your buddy moves to another town, it's like, well, I guess I'm not friends with him anymore. I guess I'll just have to hang out around here with other people. Shit, 14-year-old and your buddy goes to like jail for like years upon years upon years. Like, yeah, you kind of forget after a little while.
Yeah, so now he gets out and they're old gangsters now. They're like late teens, early 20s.
Right.
You know, so they're
Really?
really.
Almost old news now. Like,
So Abe wants to put a gang together. So he brings in an Italian guy that he did time with, a guy named Dasher Abendando. His name was Dasher because in prison he was really fast at softball.
Oh, I thought he was just really into reindeer.
Dasher Abendando brought on his partner, a guy named Happy Mayone.
tell me we're putting Pep and Happy together in a gang? Like,
What is, this is like they're getting a gang of dwarfs going on here. We got Kid Twist, Happy, Dasher.
Dopey gets out in 2 months.
Yeah.
So Bugsy Goldstein was on board. He came on board and he brought a guy named George DeFeo, who he'd been working with, and he had made a connection for illegal slot machines.
Damn, so he went from having no gang to like he really recruiting them up.
Pittsburgh Phil was now a hardened enforcer, and he was down too.
I guess he was a freelance enforcer. He wasn't like a enforcer for the Shapiro brothers or nothing. Or did he just say fuck that? He's gonna turn on them.
Well, I think he's just going to jump side. I mean, that was kind of his boy originally anyway, so now if his boy
Yeah.
says he's going to make a move. At first, it actually said, at first he kind of wasn't even going to get involved, but it was his boys, and then he kind of found a beef with the Shapiros anyway, so he's like, yeah, fuck those guys. He just really just wanted to work, just freelance, neutral, you know what I mean? Just pick up some work
He
here. and
wanted to stay in that entry level position, bro. He really wanted to just be a knockaround guy.
He's like,
But then his homeboy was like, dude, now I got Italians. Like, We're almost legit. I mean, I got a couple Italians now.
It's like, I don't know, Twist. I kind of like this punching people in the face thing. Are you going to? He's like, no, man. We just got new people to punch in the face. He's like, okay. I'm
You
in.
sold me.
Now I'm all excited and peppy.
Harry Strauss. He's described as multiple sources. Everything I read always says tall, athletic, big. Some shit I seen like said built like a linebacker. But I couldn't find any actual stuff outside, like, wanted papers, mugshot, stuff like that. Well, and I even see pictures of him where he looks tall. But I couldn't find anything to show that he's any bigger than 5'9", 172.
Well, I mean, maybe back then people were just tinier. Maybe he wore it different. Maybe he's just a wide, sort of pit bullish sort of a guy where...
Like, I legitimately seen pictures where he looked tall, and I thought, no, look, he is tall. But one of them was a mugshot, and I zoomed in on the thing behind him, and it said 5'9", and I'm like, maybe he really hung out with little dudes.
What was... I bet you the average height was probably 5'7", 5'8". So, I mean, he wasn't extremely tall, but, like,
Right.
on the taller side of average.
Women liked him, and he knew it. He was never married. I seen a quote that said he pursued women with an animal appetite.
Women like a man, he knew it. Yeah, so he was a horn dog. Well, I mean, going back to what I hinted at, like, yeah, his balls were dropping the same time he got in league with brothel runners.
He would go to the barber and manicurist every day, and he was considered one of the best dressed members of the gang.
Ooh.
Like, every single day. They said he'd spend an hour at the barber and the manicurist for an hour every day.
He had another AKA Fancy Pants.
Yeah. That's a bit excessive, though, daily.
What else do you have to do? You know what I mean? He doesn't have to punch somebody in the face till noon. His morning opened up. Why not get your nails did?
Those are his money makers, and he's really rough on them. You know what I mean? So they take a lot of care and upkeep. Even as low-level gangsters, when they would go out to eat, like, they hung out at like a lot of Jewish neighborhoods, so a lot of delis and stuff like that. So anytime anybody else would always be getting like sandwiches or sometimes burgers or something like that, he would always order the sturgeon because it was the most expensive thing on the menu.
Nice. Like, hey, Noodles, we're at a bodega. Like, we got, pastrami. We got, like, I said I want the sturgeon, please.
I said I'm hurting for sturgeon. Like, get on my plate. No, I mean, that's a very common sort of cliche thing. People that are broke, then they get older and they want to live flashy just to flaunt its status symbol.
Well, in that time era from 1900 all the way through the Depression, your Prohibition, all that crap, that was the motivation for 99% of the gang, even your Bonnie and Clyde, like the bank robbers, not the traditional gangsters. I'm so dirt poor and the whole country and world so dirt poor that I'm going to live that fab life. I want some chocolate mousse and sturgeon.
Some of Bugsy Goldstein's connections he was able to reach out to some high-level Jewish mobsters, and they were able to get him assurances that they wouldn't receive any help, but if they were able to take out the Shapiros, there wouldn't be no repercussions.
Because it benefits us. You guys are doing dirt work for us, kind of, but we won't come after you. But hey,
It's pretty much I'll allow it.
if these kids take out these kids, we're moving up anyway. So go ahead,
Well,
you
yeah.
guys. We're giving you the blessing.
I mean, it's probably not even that they move. It's probably just a lateral move. Like, yeah, we don't care.
A hint to some of their connections were coming up. Part of the thing that they liked about their gang was that they had Jews and Italians.
Around the upcoming time in history where we're at in that story, that's a huge thing. If you can be expansive in your mind a little bit, like, hey,
What were the Shapiro brothers?
They were
Jews.
Jewish.
Oh, well then, yeah.
But they were a Jewish gang. They're known to be kind of dicks. This was a young group that was
They let them be inclusive.
well, actually what happened is a Jewish guy from the Jewish neighborhood was able to reach out to Meyer Lansky and be like, hey, these Jewish kids are good kids. And then some of the Italian dudes, Louis Capone, knew them. So these Italian guys were like, hey, these kids are good kids. So at some point they're like, hey, you said they're good? Louis from up in Little Italy, he said they're cool too. So yeah, they liked the fact that they were more in line with what the, the Lanskys and the Lucianos were doing on the way up. Was this old school stick to your neighborhood shit is about to go the way of the dodo bird.
And you still got to vet and know people, but like we're just now getting out of the everybody has to be specifically Sicilian. So now we can have other Italian. Now like that's outfit-esque right there.
And they still didn't even say, all right, we're with you. They're just kind of like, all right, I mean, whatever.
Right, hey.
As long as you don't have any dirty Irish with you.
Can I hit that fistful of bourbon again?
Watch out, it'll hit you back. See, a good unique blend of whiskey. We got a good unique blend of gang. That's what they call their gang, fistful of racists.
So they went to war with the Shapiros. After a year-long war, they have a bunch of deaths on both sides and dozens of shootouts. Like dozens. These guys make the old school Chicago fucking beer wars, makes them look like snipers. Man, these guys was fucking running up on these streets, shooting each other up for a year and a half before they learned how to start hitting each other, man.
They were just shooting like stormtroopers.
All over Brownsville.
I know Brownsville kind of looked like, if you know what Greenwich Village looked like, real tiny little streets. So like it's a real confined, like
They still
everything's
couldn't
real
hit
close.
each other.
No, but there had to be some casualties, bullets going through windows, and like innocent people getting some shit.
Well, and eventually they killed off all three of the Shapiro brothers. The younger one, Willie. So when they killed the first two, the war was over, and that was in 1931. Willie didn't end up getting killed until 1934, and they still buried him alive. When they found his body and they dug it up, he had sand in his lungs, so that's how they knew he had been buried alive. Like, that's in the future of the story from now, but, like, yeah, they don't let shit go.
Bygones were not bygones.
Even after the war was over, little brother popped up fucking 4 years later, like, no, bury him. Kill him. Oh, just take him out quick? No, bury him alive or something. Like, fuck him. Fuck his brothers.
He was really pissed they didn't give him a lawyer, huh? Like, they
Well-
didn't even send him to jail. They just didn't help him when he got arrested. Like,
We can get into a little bit. What actually happened is, so he was pissed about that. So he was like, we're going to move on him. And then at one point when they moved on him, they killed Bugsy's boy, George DeFeo, and they set him up and shot Abe. They they fucked him up a couple times. And then Meyer, the leader, he kidnapped, beat, and raped Abe Rellis' girlfriend. So after that, it was like, well, we were at war because we were trying to take over the neighborhood, but now you beat and raped my girlfriend, who we ended up marrying too. So
well, yeah.
That's
You'd
how
be
your
a
little-
real asshole after you got beat up and raped. You're like, I think we should break up.
I know the timing is bad, but so after the war, Abe Rellis' ragtag group of mixed ethnicity enforcers had successfully taken over Brownsville. They called themselves the Combination.
You know, two things, more than one, combo.
Abe Rellis was quoted as saying that when Pittsburgh Phil came on board, it was like adding a whole nother crew.
Yeah, Army of One.
Like, I don't come with connections and other gang members and stuff like that, but
I bring the pep, y'all.
I bring the ruckus.
I have a certain set of skills.
Yeah.
So to the top level of mobsters observing, they kind of had just let them duke it out because they were kind of looking at the whole thing as tryouts. So the whole war kind of served as, on the Italian side, like a making of their bones. And on the Jewish side, I heard it compared to like a gangster bar mitzvah. So all these top level gangsters were just kind of wanting to see, like,
We're gonna have a draft when this is all over. So
these kids said they want to do it. Let's see what you got, man. Give it a shot.
Welcome back to Brownsville Gladiators. We got Nitro, Wolf, Dasher, Pittsburgh Phil.
When the National Crime Syndicate decided to use a neutral group to carry out contract hits, they decided on the Combination, who eventually became known through the media as Murder Inc. So,
much better fucking name.
Yeah, that's why the media gets paid. You know, they're much good at branding. They know the headlines.
look, they can't extort like Kid Twist and Pittsburgh Phil can, but they sure got the words down.
This is when they brought Ja Rule and Ashanti into their group.
Murder Inc. was really a series of upper-level gangsters like Albert Anastasia, Lepke Buckhalter, and Louis Capone that were basically used as filters to separate the actual commission from Abe Rellis' gang.
But you need 1 million foot soldiers to live that business and do that kind of life.
Right. So Murder Inc. was basically the combination with some upper management. If they were a locally owned company that got bought, and then now you got a new CEO and a VP and
And the parent company's got to send a couple of us over there to you watch all them and you babysit.
Murder Inc. was responsible for carrying out between 400 to 1,000 hired hits over the next 10 years. And Pittsburgh Phil was their go-to guy. He was known to volunteer for jobs, even if he wasn't up, and he was said to enjoy the violence. A comparison was they said he would stab a guy 50 times when 3 would do it.
Hey, difference between ordinary and extraordinary. It's that little extra. That's what we're going back to it. He's pep. He's got a passion for it. He's got the reason for the beating.
What we're going to do, we're going to take a real quick smoke break, refill our drinks, and we'll be back in a minute.
Shackles to break out of. They cower solo but mob them and they crowd us. Spilling in the street with heat like hot lava. Pop bottles, molotovs tossed and rocks follow. Ominous disciples like vipers, they strike quickly. Come at me like an army, I'm tearing you down with me. Spit like a baron, rulers of bread like Kaiser. Roll with the goal and get beaten like outsiders. These amateur animals swing in the wrong jungle. Climbing the wrong vines mean these lions will snuff you. Concrete wilderness building our own structures. Writing our own order, appointing our own judges. Overthrowing authority, morally lack conscience. Fighting for survival with rivals with throat punches. Monitor the area carrying curved swords. Slither in the breast till we crush them with brute force. Men storming the harbor with armored attack armaments. Calling all guards to swarm them and skin their faces for ornaments. Order more troops to corner them, Agent Orange and mortar them. Kill them all, just destroy them and let your guy get to sorting them. Code of honor corroded as soon as it was awarded. Celebrations were thwarted before they could be supported. Rolling thunder bombarded them, flaming dart put a part in them. Separate and disarm them and send the bulls to the parliament. Operation Niagara, Viet Cong on the battle with. Landmines and grenades and flamethrowers to scatter them. Dear mama, this battle is harder than what we thought it'd be. Every part of me scarred, I'll be recognized when they mortar me. It's almost time to run, put on your army helmets now. You're running toward the sun with all your guns, defenses down. Flashes everywhere, the lights create an atmosphere. Water in your lungs, you pray for death, but life is here. You're about to die, face it, you're about to die. Zero sand in your glass, fuck it, you can't even cry. Put a dagger to your neck, just to keep yourself in check. Put a dagger to your neck, just to keep yourself in check. Everybody grab a side as you fight to stay alive. Dancing on a hand grenade so you can die and they survive. Silver bullets in the sky, dropping 7-second death. Scattering the children, run, rub until there's nothing left. Ashes in the water, sons and daughters holding flags up high. Wallow in the harbor as the military tanks arrive. Penetrate the border with disorder like an animal. Every war has the honor of turning kings into cannibals.
All right, we're back.
Hell yeah, we is. Got ourselves some fresh fistfuls. About to break into my poets. Move from the dragon milk to the scribe.
Yeah.
Gun, can I get a Holland?
Sure, you sure can. Yeah, the Holland, the poet, it's a American oatmeal stout, but it's only 5.8.
Well, I mean, it's oatmeal, so
I mean, 5.8, that's still...
Yeah, I'm saying it's not no bit, but I'm saying
Yeah,
it's
it's not
not like
crazy
an
stuff.
11%.
But that's good. It's a drinkable stout. So you
It's
can put a
not the
couple down.
milk of the dragon. This one's cool. It's a poet. It's all about words and just, flowing.
oatmeal. We could
and-
actually have some of that bacon we discussed earlier with this beer.
It's a breakfast beer,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Bacon Rat Poets.
Dragons to Ravens.
Evermore.
Word. All right. So when we
Ooh. Jinx.
Double tap.
Did we just become best friends? But back to, at this point, Pittsburgh Phil is just out here fucking motherfuckers up for the love of it. Other dudes are in the batter's box on deck, and he just comes running out the dugout, pushes them out the way.
To have so much killing talent and still be like a lifelong, you're the best free agent ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, never, you know. He's what Dion was in that mid-'90s thing. Like, one year he's winning the Super Bowl with San Fran. The next year he's winning with Dallas. The next year, like, hey, who wants me? Because I'm out here.
Well, I mean,
who wants me?
If you jump into this as a kid and you're this broke dude or whatever, and this is the only thing you've ever known, like, yeah, you just get better and better at it. Like, you told us a cool quote during the break about how he felt about beating people up. What was it? He just keeps doing it till people notice.
Oh, he said if he keeps it up, eventually he'll get noticed by one of the big gangs.
Yeah, he's just out here fucking motherfuckers
up. And at that
like,
point, when he said that, he was at a younger man's age where he might get picked up. Now he's full grown, like he's Tom Brady of killing people.
Yeah.
And now the recognition and that's not as important. I'm killing from the heart. I know what I'm doing and I'm just enjoying it. And I crack fucking heads and that's what I do. Like the payday's nice. The recognition's nice. The you wanting me on the team, wanting to be a part of Murder Inc. That's awesome. But I do this for me.
Well, at this point, I mean, Murder Inc. is the top agency. Like the Pinkertons were the top cops during the Western Front. And Murder Inc. is the top assassination squad for the mob, and he's their top guy. He's cream of the crop of punch people in the fucking face.
He's Maverick to all them other just regular flyboys. You know what I mean? He's Top Gun.
The only thing you have about his personal life is he loves to beat people up, and he loves the ladies. He likes to dress good, eat that sturgeon, eat that puss, and fuck people's faces up. That's what he's about.
Looking good and breaking faces, that's what makes the world go round.
So one of the things they had said about him is that he seemed to love the violence. He'd stab people more times than
he was all about it.
One example is a guy named George Whitey Rudnick, who he stabbed with an ice pick 13 times in the neck and then 50 times in the chest while strangling him with a clothesline.
While strangling him? So he was one-handed and one stabbing?
Or he was pretty good at tying people up to choke themselves. He could choke them.
He like mouse-trapped people so that they choke themselves.
That's called snaring.
Or, or you got buddies. You got Bugsy Goldstein and fucking Dasher Abandondo. It's not like you don't have people that could hold them.
Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work.
But it seems like the overkill is his style. Like, that's a lot. 63 times while strangling them.
Hey, you know what I mean? You gotta let them know what's up.
Both those methods independently, a bit excessive. But
well, he's one of those dudes. I mean, he's been in it for so long. It's like I said earlier, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. It's that little extra. And he puts that in all of his work. That's why he's Murder Inc.'s top earner. Work ethic.
Right, especially if you really want this done. Whoever did it really did a bad thing. That sounds like a job you'd want to bring Pittsburgh Phil in.
And then later on with the rats in the mouth to symbolize talking or shooting through the eye or whatever, like he would probably sending messages that way as well. Like, hey, let's send in fucking Pep because he's going to leave a mess. And I want these Steens to know we did this shit.
Yeah.
He's an artiste. It's his passion. Because some people are in the mob for like, yeah, I'm in the mob. It's my job and stuff. And there are people that just kill and it's just, yeah, I have to do hits. He's like, no, I don't want to move on to having a pool hall. I don't want to own a brothel. I just want to get my hands dirty. So, like, yeah, I mean, if he's in this for life, like, this is his shit.
I'm the Ernest Hemingway of killing people. That's my book I'm writing.
I mean, and really, some people, they don't get that much into it. It's probably one of those things most people, I assume, like, I have to kill this guy and shit. Like, he's volunteering for jobs. Like, no, I'll take this one. I want to do this.
And he's not married. It's not like he has to get out of the house. He just genuinely wants the next hit.
Yeah. Suits sturgeon, murders him, hoes.
The
Pittsburgh Phil story.
I don't know if you've ever had a daily manicure, a cut, and a sturgeon. That ain't cheap. Just right there that's a nut that's hard to cover.
He's high maintenance for himself.
One of his most notable murders was Irvin Puggy Feinstein. Puggy Feinstein was a former boxer, big burly dude.
And very wrinkly. That's how he got the name Puggy.
Pittsburgh Phil, Bugsy Goldstein, and Abe Reles were killing him at Abe Reles' house while his mother-in-law was sleeping. While Pittsburgh Phil, I mean, I don't know what the combination was, but they were strangling him and ice picking him. He bit Pittsburgh Phil's hand, and
Did that piss him off?
yeah,
Nice.
It pissed him off real bad.
Because he was already ice picking you and strangling you when he was just normal, like ready to work. So
like,
now we're gonna get to what he does when he's pissed off.
Well, he
Oh,
was
boy.
like, we're biting now? That's what we do? This is illegal. We're just going to bite people?
Pittsburgh Phil has fucking feelings
I
over
mean,
here.
I didn't know we were savages. I didn't know we were recruited to this. What is going on? Next thing you know, you're going to be pulling hair? What is this?
I was unaware the Wachuchus were biters. So Harry hog-tied him with a knot around his neck that would gradually tighten and strangle him the more as he struggled.
Wait, so they were mid-ice picking. He bites him in the hand, and then they just stop ice picking. Like, you know what? We're moving on to hog tying now. Now that he bit, change of plans. We're
Yeah.
switching this. Like, how did you just resume ice picking till death? How is...
No, we're
How
not.
can
Killing,
we
we're
move
not
on to
killing you
the
nice
safety?
no more. Now that you bit me, you pissed me off. Watch this.
No more Mr. Nice Phil.
After he watched him strangle himself, the more the way it was set up, the more he struggled, the tighter it would get, and he just slowly
Man,
strangled himself.
They bowed him?
Yeah.
They python that motherfucker?
The first zip ties were invented right around this time. So.
See, that's great. They're just booby trapping. Like, is this guy's other AKA Jigsaw? Like, this
You want
dude's
to play
just-
a game? Well, he did bite him though.
He
You know?
did bite. I mean, come on.
Yeah, to be
You don't
fair
bite.
to Pep, he did get bit.
The ice picking would have been done within a minute and a half.
We just heard a story about how the ice pick / strangling combo works in an event. So it was going to work this time. But you want to bite? Want to bite? Give me a knot. Give me a fat ass knot around his neck now.
All right. Give me the rope. Give me every piece of rope you got.
After he died, they took him to a field and burned him.
For people that don't know what we're looking at, it's a burned up body in a fetal position.
Kind of real MS-13-esque. Like if you flash forward to modern time. That was not very common back then. They would throw you in a river with bricks or what have you, like your standard disposing of bodies, but yeah.
Well, did they do this to try to see if that would kill the identity of who it was, or was this just forensic? Because I don't know the era in forensics, how they could tell
I
much
think
bodies.
you're missing the essence of the story. That was for biting. Okay?
Yeah.
Your disposal even is going to be brutal. You want to
Yeah.
bite me? You want to bite me?
You get burned.
Look at your burial.
Two of the things that people said were haunting about Pep afterwards, I said they went out to eat afterwards, and two of the things he talked about is at one point he said, well, Puggy sure went up quick, huh? And he still kept complaining about getting bit on his hand. Like it was really...
It left a mark, you guys.
Well, see,
Look, it
maybe
left a mark.
this speaks something about me, but like, yeah, what else are you going to talk about? Those seems like those are the two big things of the night. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not the first guy they've choked. It's not the first guy they've ice picked. It sounds like it's the first guy that got bit and the first guy they lit on fire. So, yeah, those might be the two topics of conversation. I mean, maybe I'm a little sociopathic, but once you've done it, once you have burned the
I
body,
mean, what are you going to do,
you're
not
gonna
talk
act
about
like
it?
Yeah, you're going to act like you didn't burn the body.
I'm in the crew. I'm eating my steak. I'm like, well, you know, because he's fat, I figured he would burn longer, you know, because of the fat content. But I didn't think he'd go up as quick. So you're right, Pep.
Well, I mean,
Anything you
really,
say, Pep.
I mean, I don't want to speak for all of us, but I don't think we've burned bodies before. Maybe they do go up surprisingly quick and something crazy might happen, and we would be here right now like, wow, he really went up quickly. And yeah, if you got a fresh hand wound, like, this fucking bite, I would bring it up. I mean, if it hurts, it hurts. Give him a break, man. It's just, you know.
It's been a bad day at the office, okay?
Yeah, he's had he had a bad day. He lit him on fire. He got bit, but he...
I said medium well. The steak's a little burnt. It's smelling a little puggy-esque. Can you
Yeah.
take the steak back, please?
He was involved in the murder of Walter Sage, who was stabbed in the chest with an ice pick 32 times.
It seems like he really enjoys that ice pick. Like
Yeah.
an ice pick to Pittsburgh Phil is like a machete to Jason Voorhees.
It's his
Or a
murder.
chainsaw
machete.
to Leatherface.
Walter Sage was ice picked 32 times and then hog-tied and tied to a rock and a slot machine frame, which they had a beef over a slot machine and dumped in a river.
That's more of the...
Damn, so yeah, that is. He's
Sending
just doing
signals.
signals. Like to drag a slot machine with you to kill
We've
him.
been vending
Like,
in the Brownstown area since we were 11. Them have been our slot machines before Murder Inc. was a thing. You thought you was going to be Johnny Come Lately in the 30s and fucking slot in our town? There, that's what you're getting.
slot
I do a
this
slot machine.
motherfucker.
Huh?
This would probably be officially the grossest we ever got on this podcast. But after the Walter Sage murder, this is when Harry Strauss learned that they would build up gases in their stomach that would make them float up. So after this, when disposing of bodies in lakes, he would puncture all the stomach organs to make sure that gases couldn't build up.
Well, I mean, that's really all he had to do was go down like 6 inches from his normal ice pick location. All he had to do was ice pick a foot down. He was good.
Give it a couple. That's probably all he did, really.
I mean, he's stabbing people 32 times in the chest. Yeah.
Just
do a couple in the belly button for good measure.
Distribute them a little more. Like, still 32, keep the same number of stabs.
Yeah, diversify
Sir
your
Pep.
locations, you know
Sir
what
Pep,
I mean?
I'm just suggesting. But just spread them out a little more.
Yeah. Don't put all your stabs in one basket, you know?
Walter Sage was found bobbing in Swan Lake, up in like the Catskills areas, like all the Dirty Dancing resorts.
Oh, yeah.
Abe Reles relied heavily on Pep for out-of-town jobs. Now, since they were the hit squad for the National Crime Syndicate, they were responsible for all the hits.
They landed that big contract.
Yeah. He would travel by plane or train dressed as a businessman all over the country performing hits, so much that his closest friends started calling him the Flying Gangster.
Oh, I was hoping that AKA came from something more crazy. It's just because
he's a jet
he
setter.
went out of town. Yeah.
No, it was literally because he's a flying gangster. I fly a lot.
He got frequent flyer miles, player.
Frequent killer miles.
That's great. He's just going around like a fucking salesman, cross country, just stabbing people in the face.
No.
Hey, you know what? He finally, like he said, I keep doing this. Eventually, people are gonna notice. He hit the big time.
Going town to town. I've seen the world. You know, I'm meeting new
He's the
people. and shit.
Coca-Cola of killers. Like he's in every fucking. There ain't a state he ain't killed in.
So this is kind of a legend has it section.
Ooh, rumor has it.
Because I've heard a couple different things. So he killed a lot of people with meat cleavers, ice picks, and rope. And it seems to be his weapon of choice.
Seems like he has a little bit of an MO happen.
Now, a lot of people say that he never carried a gun. That he would use guns, but he didn't want to carry them because he didn't want to get caught carrying one. So he would carry rope or meat cleavers or ice picks, which at that time was surprisingly more common than you would think. It wasn't as big of a deal to have had a weapon. Like you know what I mean? Something like that.
Well, I get like having a little knife, but I would still think having a meat cleaver would raise an eyebrow or two.
Well, you could say back then probably, I'm not making excuses, but he could probably say I'm a butcher from Chicago going to Dallas, and like there's no Amazon or whatever. And
I mean, if you
like,
have it packed
you know
up
what I
in
mean.
your luggage, but if you're just in like a clean suit,
Oh,
freshly
yeah, if you get
manicured,
it caught with
you
your
just got a
back
meat
pocket.
cleaver on your fucking belt. Like, okay, Jack the Ripper, what the fuck are you doing?
There was also a lot of things that say he wouldn't carry anything at all because he would just find things to utilize as weapons to kill people.
Resourcefulness, I like it.
Which is something that it seems like he also did, but I think there's a lot of cases of him traveling, like especially on trains, not as much on planes, but he would carry guns.
How
like
do we feel about automobiles?
If you're doing a hit for the commission, this is the big job and shit. No matter what you'd like to do, you're gonna have that gun just in case. You know?
Well, we're so connected too. Like if he's going from New York to St. Louis, somebody down there, like always, well, I can get a heater down there. I don't have to bring one from New York on the train with me. That's easy, especially because I'm in Murder Inc. as well. Like I'm beyond connected. So when I'm in Chicago, I'm fucking with the outfit people. When I'm down in St. Louis, I'm fucking with the rats. When I'm in the West Coast, you know what I mean? I'm fucking with Bugsy or whoever it may be at that
connected
time.
and
He's
beyond.
getting his shit like. They don't really, you don't, as a killer, you wouldn't really take your gun with you from here to there.
Yeah, mate, come on. He's Pittsburgh Phil. If he needs a gun, he's gonna find a gun.
Like,
you know what I mean?
It's this big as an ink pen. Like, if you take your ice pick, even in your luggage, whatever, like, I'm searching. It's not even a red flag. Like, oh,
Well,
hey,
like-
you got ice pick in here, sir. Like, yeah, I know. I work at an ice factory.
Well, that's
Fuckface.
like you said. Like it is unusually common, like in our standards, for the amount of people that just had knives and shit on them. I was joking about the meat cleaver, but like, yeah, for sure, back in the day, it was not weird to have an ice pick or something on you.
A
Like,
letter
that
opener.
was completely normal. And I mean, if it sounds like Pittsburgh Phil, even though, like we just covered, if he wants a gun, he's gonna find a fucking gun. But it seems like, fuck, I don't really need the gun. I'm good.
Well, and that's what I think it is. So all those people that say that, they're all kind of right, but for different reasons. I feel like he went with the rope. Now, for one, that seems like something with Murder Inc. they would get bonuses. A lot of people like the garrote, if they're trying to get somebody out. And it's a pretty quiet technique. So rope's pretty easy. It works, And I think he just liked to kill that way. I think is his preferred method. But there's plenty of instances of him having guns and carrying guns. So, yeah. I think it was...
Any fool can shoot a motherfucker, but I'm an artist.
Right.
When your heart's in it and you got a passion, you work your magic.
I'm just saying, you still need that contract. So he would have a gun. He's a fucking gangster his whole life. He's not a stranger to guns. He just liked to choke people and shit. But to your point, my next note, it says, whenever he'd get to town, he'd meet with local affiliates. They'd set him up with vehicles, crash cars, a place to observe from. They'd point out the target, like take him to just somewhere where they knew he'd be, where they could sit him down and be like, no, this is for sure him.
Yeah, and that safe houses and then getaway drivers, all that was that's part of being in an organization opposed to just being a 2-bit guy traveling yourself, doing freelance work.
No, and also I would imagine at this point in time, I mean, he's Pittsburgh Phil. He's #1 guy. Everyone knows him. If he comes to your town, you would probably love to be the one to be like, hey, Phil, I got you a gun, man. I got, you would probably be clamoring to be the guy to give him all the inside information, hook him up with the car.
Because of the fame, because of who he is, and because you don't want to be that guy that he has to puncture your fucking balls so you don't float to the top of whatever river you're near.
You won't be tied up and burned and shit.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I bet you within those circles, he's a bit of a celebrity. He's the Winter Soldier.
It does seem like the out of town stuff, he was a lot more professional than the New York stuff. But I think most of that is in New York. He would cover it from rooter to tutor.
Now he's got to look the part. He doesn't want to look standing out down in St. Louis, Missouri. He wants to look like you said earlier, a businessman. I look like I'm here for a different reason. I'm still that nutty nut on the inside, but I got to look the part of a guy that would be traveling, selling encyclopedia, whatever it may be.
It might go to that thing in the very beginning of how he got the name pep of most people just saw him as big and intimidating, but once you got to know him, he's more friendly. Around his boys in his home game, yeah, you hang around, you get bit, then you light them on fire, things happen. But when you're out of town and those aren't your friends, then you're back to that big dude. They don't know I'm peppy. Yeah. They don't know I'm happy.
It's business as usual, bro.
This big pissed off dude. Maybe he might have a hint of Asperger's to him when he's around people he don't know. He's just all business, doesn't want to talk to people, but then when he gets around his friends, then he gets a little loose. That's when he starts playing rope games and gets a little freer with his kills.
Once they would have everything set up, the local gangsters would all set up their alibis in advance. So they would always, and I read everything from going out on cruises to one guy wanted it done the same day as his daughter's recital because he knew he'd be there getting all these pictures and
cruises, he's just having people on a cruise
No, that's what the local guys would go do. So when he would come he'd come in and he'd meet some guys and they're like, okay, here's your stuff, here's your guy, here's what you got to do.
As the detective, all that town's usual suspects. Yeah. Where were you, Charlie? I was on a boat. Where were you, Jimmy? I was at my daughter's recital. All the local guys
had alibis.
That's why you bring this guy in.
They bring him in like he's a house sitter, where he's like a murder sitter. He comes in, they hook him up with the house. All right, we're all leaving on vacation. Just take care of things while we're gone. Water the plants, stab the guy, feed our pets. All right, we'll be on a cruise.
Typically, he'd be on his way back home before the police started rounding up suspects. Once in Jacksonville, Florida, he killed a man in a movie theater, and he was on a train home before the movie was over.
That's
pretty fucking good.
For all the brutal shit of his story, that's a very smart thing.
He's had a long career, and that's not from being dumb. He knows what he's doing.
And it's crazy because usually somebody that's brutal, there's somebody with that much of an affinity for just the violence of it. There is some dumbness there. This guy's, that's the worst the best and worst combination. Somebody that's there's intellect and planning, but he's really the craziest motherfucker, we could all end up burnt in the barrel, player.
Besides the hog tie-in, the hit that I think he would just find an implement to use comes from a killer in when it was also in Florida. He hit a guy in the head with the fire axe.
So he did go straight American Psycho. Now he's just bringing out fire axes.
Yeah.
Just
But the building's fire axe. So he went to the building, grabbed the axe in the building.
breaking case of murder.
Yes.
Then he ran out of the building screaming, pretending to be like one of the people. He's like, oh my God. That guy fucking hit a guy with an axe.
Yeah, that's great.
He's the only one because he's the only witness.
Yeah,
That guy got fucked up. That guy got really
He comes
fucked
out like,
up.
Fuck, did I forget to hit the fire alarm? Oh shit, my mistake. Never mind, you guys.
I thought that guy was on fire, so I tried to axe the fire out, and he's done himself a mischief. Oh no.
This man, he tripped and fell on an axe.
22 times because I'm excessive.
Oh, he hog-tied himself. Help him.
How did he throw his head over there?
How did he
I just got to the note about if he preferred ropes and weapons versus. So I guess I jumped the gun on that one.
Well, then next to that note should say yup.
I mean, we covered that fine. I think it fit where it did.
Even the slowest fan out there can deduce that.
I mean,
He
so
likes
far,
ropes.
all of your murders have involved ice picking a rope. Like, I haven't heard of, I think, a single one yet where he shot a guy.
Okay, so then that's where we're gonna go. But to show that also, well, he was a professional. So like I said earlier, when he's out of town, sometimes you just gotta get the
I
hit
guess
done.
I'll use a gun, asshole.
Right, you just gotta make sure it gets done. So you hit him with a fire axe, you strangle him during the movie or whatever. On September 13th, 1936, Strauss emptied a shotgun into Joe Rosen. There's a pump action shotgun. So pump action shotguns usually talking about like what, 6 shots?
7, maybe at top shots.
No, I mean, my pump action, I put 4, 5 if you cock one up, and then you
Right.
can like slick the 5 one in there. But yeah,
That's a
4
lot,
or 5 is still good.
That's a lot of shotgun.
As far as him
Shotgun.
going into gun realm, it ain't like he went out there with a little 9 or something or 45 and shot like. No, he unloaded a shotgun on him. Like, that's the hitting him in the face of a hammer of guns.
Right. That's 52. That's the gun equivalent of 52 ice pickings.
Yeah, that's the gun equivalent of stabbing him in the face with a fire axe.
Well, when he stabbed somebody 50 times, 3 would have done it. Like, when you shoot somebody with the emptying a shotgun, the first shell did it. The other 5, we're arguing over it was 5 or 6 more shells to follow. 2, 3, 4, didn't matter. The first one killed the guy.
It was a fistful,
Yes.
is what it was.
You're out of town on these ones anyways, so I mean, you're just gonna drop this anyways. What are you just gonna leave them here? I mean,
Yeah.
you brought them, might as well use them.
No shell goes unwasted.
On November
Oh,
20th,
he killed Chris Penn?
that does look like Chris Penn,
Like
like good
best-
Chris Penn.
Like, best of the best Chris Penn, not like Reservoir Dogs Chris Penn.
No, that's Chris Penn from, like, Footloose. Like, that's...
And that's Cowboy Hat Chris Penn.
I think best of the best is good, somewhere between
Yeah.
Footloose, which is his sexiest, and
I
Reservoir
believe
Dogs.
best
which
of the
is-
best, he also rocked a cowboy hat.
He did.
He was a big cowboy hat back in the day. Good Chris Penn talk.
So on November 25th, 1937, he shot Purple Gang gangster Harry Millman 9 times in Boski's Deli at 12th and Hazelwood in Detroit.
And just for the listeners, just to sort of recap, Purple Gang were a group. They weren't Murder Inc., but they were enforcers. He was such an enforcer.
This guy,
that
blows my mind. Not a lot of people come to Detroit to kill a Purple Gang guy. This guy was on his tour, came and killed a Purple Gang guy. Like, come on.
So
Yeah, that
Get
just
the
proves
fuck
how
out.
much like he's the best of the enforcers, that he's taken out Purple Gang enforcers.
So how this happened is, and you can listen to we did a whole Purple Gang episode, and we mentioned Harry Millman on there. What happened is, after Prohibition, the Purple Gang started to kind of fall apart, and the Detroit Partnership started to take over, like in the early 1930s, but there was still some kicking around. Harry Millman's problem was he really hated Italians, so he was still in Detroit robbing exclusively connected Italian games and gambling dens and stuff.
He was going Joker style.
Right, and thinking that was going to be cool, and like even Abe Birdstein was trying to tell him, like, hey, it's not that Detroit anymore.
Jack Alone, the
Yeah.
Tocos, like there's a new,
There's a new
pecking
boss in
order,
town,
yeah.
and we can't. And we talked about it earlier with the Syndicate. If there's one thing that they hate is not working together. So, you're a Jewish guy that hates
or
fucking
a rogue
Yeah.
agent. It's weird because it's all crime, but like renegades or like thinkers of outside of the organization, like nope, you're
Come together right
even if
now.
we don't love each other, you
or
got to
the
stay
staff.
within the rails because if you start being, you're gonna bring a spotlight on us that nobody wants.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool to have a guard dog, but when that motherfucker starts snapping at everyone, gotta put it down.
Pittsburgh Phil was suspected of 30 murders in a dozen different cities, including Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia, Miami, and Detroit.
So any big city back in the
Yeah.
1930s, this guy did a murder.
Anywhere where my people need to be killing.
Through the 30s, he ended up being arrested 18 times without ever being convicted of a murder charge.
I bet you his boy Kid Twist is like, oh, they get him a lawyer. Oh, they help him out when he gets arrested. Okay.
Well, that's funny you would say that because in 1940, Kid Twist, Abe Relez, gets arrested in connection to a bunch of the murders. And he actually wasn't even much of a suspect. It was kind of a roundup, but it was that Thomas Dewey guy. And his idea was like, well, look, we're going to arrest a bunch of them, but we're going to put them all in different places. He was like one of the first guys to split everybody up and tell everybody that your boy talks.
He told us
Oh,
everything.
they first 48'd them?
Yep.
He got first 48'd them, dog.
Yeah. So they split all of them up and told everybody that their boys talked.
Abe told us everything, Locke. Tell us what's up. He told us everything. Like, oh.
Well, it turned out the first one to snitch was Abe.
Oh, honest Abe, you son of a bitch. You should have been lying, Abe.
So Kid Twist, the boss, the guy that started this whole fucking deal, tells.
Fucking stool pigeon.
Well, he talked to his wife, and his wife was like, I don't really like living this life anymore. This is kind of crazy. And Kid Twist he thought he had cancer. He started spitting up blood a lot, but he never did have cancer. I don't know what it was, but he thought he was sick. You know what I mean? His wife didn't want to do it. And he was like, you know what? I think I'm going to tell.
Hey, fuckface, you had an ulcer.
Yeah, that's... Stop eating all the spicy food.
Get the sturgeon.
Yeah, get the sturgeon. What are you doing?
Well, yeah, so in 1940, Abe
And
Relez...
that was for a case that he, like, wasn't even directly directed with, but, like, just he was in the mob, so they rounded him up.
Yeah.
Damn, what a fucking jerk-off.
So he thought it was and connected to something, and there was loose connections on everything, but none of it was anything that they had evidence on. But he said, look, everybody that's loosely connected here, we're going to all round them up on a vagrancy charge, but we always round them up together. Like, we stick them in a paddy wagon together. So we're going to arrest every single one of these individually, separately, and separate them, and we're going to tell every other one. We're going to tell every single one that the other one told.
Damn, so it took centuries, but the cops finally got up on Divide and Conquer?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's someone that barely had anything to do with it. Just like, all right, you know what? I'll just tell you everything. That sucks.
And it turned out kind of similar to Ken Edo, Abe Relez, who was a fucking douche. Like, he was frumpy, ugly little mean man. But it turned out he had, what is it called? A photographic memory?
It's so ironic that you had a hard time remembering that.
What's it called?
That was very, he had what is it called? What is it called?
He could remember things.
That was fucking perfect.
What I don't have.
What I can't do.
So he tells them everything. And they fucking need it all.
Even
'cause-
shit they didn't even ask. He's just giving them shit.
Well, he really did. He just told them everything because they didn't have much.
So how you doing today? All right, I'll tell you everything.
Well, put it this way. He gave them fucking Lepke Buckhalter, Albert Anastasia, fucking Louis
He gave
Capone.
him Lepke Buckhalter?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well,
Old
Lepke
Lucky Buckhalter?
Lepke Buckhalter he's the only mob boss to ever end up getting executed. But
Oh, shit.
yeah, Louis Capone, everybody. He told on everybody.
Son
But that's who they wanted. They wanted like the high ups. So based on his testimony, Bugsy Goldstein and Harry Strauss were arrested and charged with the murder of Puggy Feinstein.
They brought him back to Opuggy?
Yeah.
He went up quick.
Oh, man. Burnt bodies tell no tales.
You would think you killed them in Abe Relez's house, right? Like, how is he going to tell on us? We killed him in his house. Abe Relez's mother-in-law testified that, yeah, they asked me for the ice pick and everything.
Hey, Bob, where's the ice pick? It's in the drawer, right next to the rope.
What'd they tell her? That they hit a deer and they got to cut off his hoof?
Oh, fucking Pittsburgh Phil's whole defense is, nah, she was sleeping. She didn't know nothing.
Yeah, that was that night that guy fucking bit me. You see my fucking hand?
Yeah,
marks.
that's what got him. They had homeboy's teeth marks, and they put it to the scars. It's a match. Listen, I'm not saying I did anything. I'm not saying nothing. That fucker lit up really quick. Like, it was amazing how fast he went up. We didn't even have to add no gas or nothing. He just...
And if he's a little pudgy, they go up quick.
I'm telling you, it's the oils. All them cold cuts.
The fats.
Fats, they light them up. It was ridiculous.
During the trial, Harry tried to grow out his beard and claim insanity. So he let his hair grow out, and he grew like a big beard.
It's like, Your Honor, I'm clearly crazy. Look at this beard. I'm crazy.
Facial hairs.
Facial hair? I'm nutty.
Here. Facial hairs.
Look at me. Do you see my chinny chin chin? This is wild.
What am I, Amish? Huh?
Yeah.
What am I?
Look at it. I twist the end of my mustache. I'm mad, Your Honor.
They call me Ezekiel now? What am I, Amish?
Some people said he chewed on a leather strap of his briefcase. He did say that he...
Look, Your Honor, it's a chew toy to me.
I'm a mad dog.
I'm so crazy. And then he said he would testify, and then went up there and refused to take the oath.
So why would he even go, I'll testify? I'm not going to swear to anything.
I'll testify, but not under oath.
Well, okay, but also, he has a beard. You know what I mean?
He's crazy.
This guy's
He's
fucking
the
crazy.
Unabomber over here.
Would a madman have facial hair like this, Your Honor? Sustained. I rest my case.
Yeah, but it didn't work.
No, that's crazy.
At one point, Harry Strauss said he would turn state's evidence, but he just needed to talk to Abe Reles in private once.
In Your Honor, could that be with a nice pic, please?
Your Honor, just give me 5 minutes alone with him, and I'll tell you everything you need to know.
On September 19th, 1940, they were both found guilty and sentenced to the death penalty. On June 12th, 1941, at Sing Sing Prison, they were both sentenced to electric chair, Old Sparky, in the same day, one after the other.
Ride the lightning.
The famous Old Sparky?
Yep.
So this one's the original. So now there's 14 different prisons that have called their shit Old Sparky.
Oh, yeah, children?
And then it gets referenced in the Green Mile. So if you watch the Green Mile, they call theirs Old Sparky. But Sing Sing's Old Sparky is the original one. Besides Bugsy Goldstein and Pittsburgh Phil, Abe Reles' testimony resulted in the death sentence of a number of Murder Inc. members, including both Dasher Abendando and Happy Mayone.
Damn, so he snitched on all the OGs, huh?
Yep.
Like, not even the people, but the people that he was closest to. We always get wrapped up in this because really, I mean, Pittsburgh Phil is an asshole and a murderer, and by all accounts, so are probably these other guys and shit. And they're bad guys and they're mobsters, but there's just something about that level of betrayal that's just like, fuck you, Abe. You just ratted out. I don't care if they are murderers and they are disgusted people. Like, you are more disgusting to me than any of them right now.
Well, because you were with them while they did all that, but then told on them.
Well, what if
But not only that, but your boys, like the ones that helped you when you were no one.
What if you
These are the people before you even killed the Shapiro brothers, when you were absolutely fucking nothing.
When you said, I'm going to
They
start
were
a
your
gang,
boys.
they said, I'll be in your gang.
Yeah, and you ran, and for fucking nothing. Like, you were barely caught up in anything. You were so quick to rat. Fuck you, Abe.
It's
I
Young Guns, but at the end, Billy the Kid turns everybody in. Like, let's go. I set Chavez. And like,
Yeah, like.
what?
All right. So that's the story of Pittsburgh Phil.
So say good night to the bad guy. Come on. The last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again, let me tell you.
What's so crazy is he was such an expert. He killed so many motherfuckers. Would he have got caught without that fucking rat? He could have been one of the most prolific fucking... Who's the one guy? The Iceman. He's the famous guy, the hitman for the shit.
Yeah, most of those are probably bullshit, though.
Yeah, he's
like,
made
he's
for a
killed
TV
way more
hitman.
than Nice, man.
God, fuck you, Abe. Goddamn Benedict Arnold.
I think I got cancer. I'll tell on all my friends.
No, it was just bad heartburn.
Well, even that's not even just fucking die with your cancer. Why does that make you have to rat people out? So you coughed up some blood, so you have to rat out everyone you ever knew?
At least now you don't have to snitch. Like,
Yeah,
well, I'm on borrowed time anyway.
Yeah, I'm dying, dickface. I'm not telling you shit. That's the way that should have went. Oh, fucking Kid Twisted, the first one to get first 48'd.
Told quick, and he told on everybody, and he told on all of his original crew that helped him take over Brownsville. Got
No more.
executed. Not arrested, not charged, electrocuted. So you guys haven't seen a picture of Harry Strauss yet. If we were gonna cast a movie starring Harry Strauss, who would you cast to play him?
I mean, it really could be anyone big and mean. I mean, even though, like we covered, he was really only 5'9", 172, but because his lore was the big mean guy, I'd like to take old Jason Momoa, bring him back to his good old Khal Drogo days, like back from his Aquaman shit. It's just the pissed off dude, just a big dude ready to kill. I mean, I guess the dude that played Ramsay in Game of Thrones, he would be good.
You pick him a lot.
I've only picked him like one other time.
Well, I don't know.
It's been a
I feel like I've
long
heard it
time
before,
since I
maybe.
picked him. But I mean, he would play a good one. He seems like he's about the same size, and I mean, he played that sadistic role pretty good in Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
does
it's
do
really an
sadistic one.
open.
But also, he's the guy that played him was also like a good-looking dude and shit, so he could
Yeah.
play like.
I mean, it's anyone who could play like a real intimidating, want to murder you sort of dude. I mean,
I was thinking, I hadn't thought this originally, but based on just what we had talked about, the horror guy that played the Bear Jew,
oh, Eli Roth.
Eli Roth.
Yeah, he would be
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, because
see
that's
that.
like big, scary, mean, but not that big, really. Big enough to fucking stab you 63 times with an ice pick and strangle you. So here's pictures of Pittsburgh Phil.
Oh, Nick DiPaolo.
Well, this far, that looks like a young Johnny Sack a little bit. Like, I don't know. Like,
I mean, he really does look like the sort of dude that will ice paint. Like, he got a cold demeanor to him.
Yeah.
Look like, oh, what's his name? He was in the last season Boardwalk Empire. The only thing I could think of is he is in Ant-Man, the stepdad.
Bob or something Cannavella.
Yeah, but he's a bigger dude, and he can play. I mean, if you've ever seen the last season Boardwalk Empire, he is very charming and can like talk to the ladies, but he is very intimidating. Like, I will stab you in the fucking face at any second. He really does play that good.
Yeah, it's Bobby Cannavella.
Like, even though looking at this guy is what brought him to mind, but just thinking of what that guy can play, because I keep on going to that last season of Boardwalk Empire, I think he could play this character real good.
All right, so now we got to do the DEFCON scale. So standard DEFCON scale is 5 to 1, 5 being the lowest, 1 being the highest. But on the Bad Guy podcast, there's no good guys. So 5 would be Lee Murray, who's your crack dealing, kidnapping, bank robber. And 1 would be the Purple Gang, who's got multiple massacres, multiple gang wars, and they're killing people on the streets. So on a scale of Lee Murray to the Purple Gang, where would you rate Pittsburgh Phil?
I'll give him a 1. The up closeness, the body of work, the amount of bodies he, on paper, like that, he had 32 that we wanted to charge him with. And almost all of them were up close, extra brutal. It was even in the story that he was known as to be excessive. There wasn't much gunplay. It was a lot of stabbing, strangling, like super, super up close and intimate killings.
Yeah, usually you think, oh yeah, early 1900s New York, right? We're going to be doing some gunning. Like,
So
no.
Tommy guns.
Yeah. Nope, a lot of strangulation. We're strangling motherfuckers.
Like where he shows up to the hit with the Tommy gun, puts it down so he can get up and slow dance with the guy and then strangle him like from behind. And while I'm strangling him, I'm gonna give him the reach around. Not the fun, happy massage shoes.
You're like, okay, it's a little
Stabby,
weird, but
stabby,
whatever.
stabby,
I'm just
stabby,
trying to
stabby,
get out of here.
stabby.
Oh no. Oh no. It's a bad.
As the victim, I'm like, you're choking me and stabbing me. Like, what the fuck?
Well, and the only famous gun one that we went over was unload a shotgun to a guy. Like, that's as
And it
close
was
up as
almost
you
like
can get.
he frowned upon it. When I go out of town, I act like a normal killer, but
Yeah.
when I'm around my homies, I'm all peppy and stabby, so fuck you.
Hey, you guys want to get a little weird tonight?
Yeah.
Feel cute. I might use a shotgun. I don't know.
Where he's a slam dunk 1, it's because of the up close, intimate killing, personal shit.
Word. I keep on going back and forth between a 1 and a 2. Now, I agree with you, everything that you said, like the fact that he was so up close and the fact that he loved it, like he really was that guy. But it seemed like he almost had it, like it was his job almost. Like, he wasn't out there just murdering motherfuckers. Like, you could hang out and have a drink with him without worrying about him stabbing you in the face. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm right there
Unless
between.
you looked at his chick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm right there between a 2 and a 1. I don't know. I kind of want to go a 2 just because he wasn't crazy out there like stabbing anyone and everyone like it was a job to him. But definitely number 1 because took his job seriously, you know. And like you said, it was all up close shit, and he was pretty sick with it. But
They barbecued Pudgy.
But also, yeah, but that too, all of his sick
dude,
shit.
I didn't know he was gonna go up like that.
He went up like a flame as he's eating the fucking pop.
But also, like I said, like even his sick shit, like his sickest shit was like, yeah, stab them in the gut so they don't drown, burn up the body. Like a lot of the shit was also still just job related.
Common sense.
So I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
really
we are running a business here, right? Murder Inc. This is a corporation.
and all of his sick shit was like tying the jukebox to the guy, like that was sending a sick. So I don't know. It's real. It could easily be a number.
I'm kind of the vice
or
president
2.
of strangulation.
Yeah. Like I don't know. How are you feeling? Because I could really go 1 or 2. I don't know. Like I want to give it like a 1.5.
Well, so I go 1 because I think he's a killer's killer. I mean, Purple Gang is kind of the standard at 1, and if you need someone to come in to kill one of them, he was the guy. So I think that don't slide you in there. And for the record, I sacrificed some murders for Sturgeon talk. I could have just read you fucking strangulations, a list of strangulations for.
Yeah, that's why I also like I'm perfectly fine with a 1. I could go 1, but that's just my only hang up is the fact that it really was his job and it was mob related.
So we're gonna call him a DEFCON 1.
All right, flush the bombers, get the subs in launch mode. We are at DEFCON 1.
Before we go, you guys got anything?
Nah, this was a good one. This was a killer of killers. And this fistful of bourbon was the drink of drinks.
Yeah. Fistful of bourbon was good for sure. And Andrew in Louisville, we appreciate the
Yeah, really good. Like
No,
a
or-
shout out to that was a good call on a like a fan
Or as they call it in Kentucky, Louisville.
Louisville.
I'm very sorry, Andrew, because that is true.
Part-time podcast regular Fred had a good couple year stint in Louisville.
Yep.
I think he cleared it up officially on the record, though. So just because I still butcher it, I've already been corrected on the show. So if you say, like, hey, this is how you're supposed to say it, I know. I was told. Go listen to episode 39. I already been told. I'm just
for
dumb.
the record, you can tell old Andy Pants right now. I don't believe in Louisville. It is Louisville.
Well, I don't know. I'm a bourbon guy, so I go with. I'm trying to fucking not piss off a bunch of angry fucking.
If
No,
it
and we don't
makes
wanna-
you happy.
We don't want to alienate or piss them off, but they got to understand that we have a fistful of bourbon, not a fistful of vocabulary. Okay? We ain't been learned right.
So one of our resources, I'll list all the resources and the links in the show, but one of the best resources we use is a book. It's called Brotherhood Betrayed: The Man Behind the Rise and Fall of Murder Inc. by Michael Cannell.
That's a whole fuck Abe novel.
Yeah, fuck Abe, dude. I can't say it enough. Fuck that guy.
Dude, you.
Yeah. A brotherhood betrayed. I don't care if that brotherhood was a brotherhood of murderers and killers or whatever. They were betrayed.
Yeah, so the book, it's real good, and it'll cover Abe Relez from a little kid meeting Pittsburgh Phil to,
Snitchy
Turning
snitch,
into the
snitch,
Judas
snitch,
of
snitch.
fucking the mob world.
you know, you can get the whole story. It's a really good book. It's an easy read. So go buy his book.
Learn
That's
more
what-
about that asshole Abe.
Right? All right. Well, this is Say Hello to the Bad Guy. Thanks for coming, and thanks for listening.